Timeless Civilization, a documentary. The land where time never stopped. There are places in the world that are remembered for their beauty. Others are remembered for their power. But only a handful of civilizations have shaped humanity itself. India is one of them. A land where ancient traditions coexist with cutting-edge technology. Where sacred temples stand beside modern skyscrapers. Where over 1 billion people speak hundreds of languages, practice diverse religions, and preserve customs that have survived for thousands of years. Stretching from the snow-covered Himalayas in the north to the tropical shores of the Indian Ocean in the south, India is not merely a country. It is a civilization. One of the oldest continuous civilizations on Earth. For thousands of years, India has influenced philosophy, mathematics, medicine, architecture, astronomy, literature, religion, trade, and culture across continents. It gave the world the concept of zero. It nurtured Buddhism and Hinduism. It built magnificent cities while much of the ancient world was still developing. And today, it stands as one of the world's fastest-growing economies and an emerging global power. But India's story is far more than dates and empires. It is a story of resilience, a story of diversity, a story of extraordinary contrasts. This is the story of India. Geography, a land of extraordinary diversity. India occupies approximately 3.29 million square kilometers, making it the 7th largest country in the world by land area. It stretches more than 3,200 kilometers from north to south and nearly 3,000 kilometers from east to west. Bordered by Pakistan to the west, China, Nepal, and Bhutan to the north, and Bangladesh and Myanmar to the east. India also overlooks the Arabian Sea, the Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean, positioning it at the crossroads of ancient maritime trade routes. Few countries possess such remarkable geographical diversity. In the north rise the Himalayas, the tallest mountain range on Earth. These colossal peaks serve as both a natural barrier and the source of many of Asia's great rivers. Among them flows the Ganges, known in India as the Ganga, a river revered not only for sustaining millions of lives, but also as one of the most sacred waterways in Hinduism. Further west lies the vast Thar Desert, where scorching temperatures and shifting sand dunes create one of the world's most challenging environments. Moving southward, fertile plains give way to dense forests, rolling plateaus, and lush tropical landscapes. India is home to nearly every major climate zone, from alpine glaciers to humid rainforests. Its extraordinary biodiversity includes approximately 8% of the world's recorded species, despite covering only about 2.4% of Earth's land surface. The country shelters Bengal tigers, Asian elephants, Indian rhinoceroses, snow leopards, Asiatic lions, and thousands of endemic plant species. Nature has always shaped India's civilization. Its rivers nurtured agriculture. Its mountains protected kingdoms. Its monsoon rains determined harvests. And its geography connected India to civilizations across Africa, Central Asia, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. The dawn of civilization, the Indus Valley. More than 4,000 years ago, while many parts of the world were still developing small agricultural communities, an advanced civilization flourished along the banks of the Indus River. Today, historians call it the Indus Valley Civilization, or the Harappan Civilization. It emerged around 2600 BCE and became one of humanity's earliest urban societies, alongside ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. Its cities astonish archaeologists even today. Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, Dhalavira, Latal. These were not chaotic settlements. They were meticulously planned urban centers. Wide streets intersected at right angles. Brick houses featured private bathrooms. Underground drainage systems carried wastewater through covered channels. Standardized weights and measures enabled organized commerce. Some historians describe these cities as centuries ahead of their time. Trade routes connected the civilization with Mesopotamia, the Arabian Peninsula, and Central Asia. Artifacts discovered in Iraq reveal commercial exchanges that crossed thousands of kilometers. Yet one mystery remains unsolved. The Indus script has never been conclusively deciphered. Hundreds of inscriptions have survived, but their language remains unknown. An entire civilization still whispers to us through symbols that no one has fully understood. Around 1900 BCE, the civilization gradually declined. Climate change, shifting river systems, and environmental pressures are among the leading explanations. Yet its legacy endured. Many cultural practices that emerged during this period would continue to influence later Indian civilization. The Vedic Age. Following the decline of the Indus Valley Civilization, a new cultural era began. Known as the Vedic period, this age laid many of the philosophical and spiritual foundations of Indian civilization. The Vedas, composed in ancient Sanskrit, became among the oldest sacred texts still preserved today. These writings explored profound questions. What is the universe? What is consciousness? What is truth? Centuries before many classical philosophies emerged elsewhere, Indian thinkers were already debating the nature of reality, ethics, and existence. The concepts of dharma, karma, and moksha evolved during this period. Ideas that would later shape Hindu philosophy and influence millions around the world. Society became increasingly organized. Agriculture expanded. Iron tools improved productivity. Small kingdoms gradually developed into larger political entities. Education occupied a central role. Knowledge was transmitted orally with astonishing precision. Teachers and students often spent decades preserving sacred texts through memorization. Remarkably, many of these oral traditions survived for centuries before being written down. The Mauryan Empire and Emperor Ashoka. By the 4th century BCE, the Indian subcontinent witnessed the rise of its first great empire. Founded by Chandragupta Maurya, the Mauryan Empire united vast regions under a centralized administration. Its capital, Pataliputra, became one of the largest cities of the ancient world. Greek ambassador Megasthenes described impressive palaces, organized governance, and prosperous markets. But the empire reached its greatest influence under one extraordinary ruler, Ashoka the Great. Initially remembered as a formidable conqueror, Ashoka expanded the empire through military campaigns. His most famous victory came during the brutal Kalinga War, fought around 261 BCE. Historical records describe tens of thousands of deaths. The devastation transformed the emperor. According to inscriptions carved into stone pillars across India, Ashoka experienced profound remorse after witnessing the suffering caused by war. He abandoned aggressive conquest. Instead, he embraced Buddhism. His reign became dedicated to compassion, justice, religious tolerance, public welfare, and ethical governance. Ashoka ordered the construction of hospitals for both humans and animals. Roads were improved. Trees were planted to provide shade for travelers. Rest houses were built across the empire. Most importantly, Buddhist missionaries were sent throughout Asia. Their journeys carried Buddhism to Sri Lanka, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, and eventually China, Korea, and Japan. Today, the lion capital of Ashoka remains the national emblem of India. His Dharma chakra, the wheel of righteousness, occupies the center of the Indian national flag. More than 2,000 years later, Ashoka continues to symbolize peace born from wisdom. The Gupta Empire, India's golden age. Every civilization experiences moments that define its greatest achievements. For India, that moment arrived during the Gupta Empire, a period that historians often describe as the golden age of ancient India. Beginning in the early 4th century CE, the Gupta dynasty united much of northern India under a stable and prosperous government. Unlike many empires remembered solely for military conquest, the Guptas became renowned for fostering learning, science, literature, philosophy, and the arts. Under rulers such as Chandragupta II, trade flourished across Asia. Merchants carried Indian textiles, spices, gemstones, and metalwork to distant markets stretching from the Roman world to Southeast Asia. Prosperity created an environment where intellectual life could thrive. Poets composed works that continue to be admired more than a millennium later. Artists transformed stone into masterpieces of sculpture. Architects refined temple designs that would influence Indian religious architecture for centuries. Among the greatest literary figures of this era was Kalidasa, often compared to Shakespeare for the elegance of his language and the depth of his imagination. His play Abhijnanasakuntalam, the recognition of Shakuntala, became one of the most celebrated works of classical Sanskrit literature, admired far beyond India. But the Gupta age was remarkable for another reason. It was an age in which scientific curiosity flourished. Astronomers mapped the heavens with increasing precision. Mathematicians developed revolutionary concepts. Physicians documented sophisticated medical practices. Knowledge was not confined to palaces. It flowed through temples, schools, and scholarly communities, shaping generations of thinkers. Hinduism, a living civilization. Every civilization experiences moments that define its greatest achievements. For India, that moment arrived during the Gupta Empire, a period that historians often describe as the golden age of ancient India. Beginning in the early 4th century CE, the Gupta dynasty united much of northern India under a stable and prosperous government. Unlike many empires remembered solely for military conquest, the Guptas became renowned for fostering learning, science, literature, philosophy, and the arts. Under rulers such as Chandragupta II, trade flourished across Asia. Merchants carried Indian textiles, spices, gemstones, and metalwork to distant markets stretching from the Roman world to Southeast Asia. Prosperity created an environment where intellectual life could thrive. Poets composed works that continue to be admired more than a millennium later. Artists transformed stone into masterpieces of sculpture. Architects refined temple designs that would influence Indian religious architecture for centuries. Among the greatest literary figures of this era was Kalidasa, often compared to Shakespeare for the elegance of his language and the depth of his imagination. His play Abhijnanasakuntalam, the recognition of Shakuntala, became one of the most celebrated works of classical Sanskrit literature, admired far beyond India. But the Gupta age was remarkable for another reason. It was an age in which scientific curiosity flourished. Astronomers mapped the heavens with increasing precision. Mathematicians developed revolutionary concepts. Physicians documented sophisticated medical practices. Knowledge was not confined to palaces. It flowed through temples, schools, and scholarly communities, shaping generations of thinkers. Hinduism, a living civilization. To understand India, one must understand Hinduism. Unlike many religions founded by a single prophet or during a specific historical moment, Hinduism evolved gradually over thousands of years. Its roots reach back to the Vedic traditions that emerged after the decline of the Indus Valley Civilization. Over centuries, these traditions absorbed local customs, philosophical ideas, devotional movements, and regional practices, creating one of the world's oldest living religious traditions. Today, Hinduism is practiced by nearly 1 billion people, the vast majority of whom live in India. At its heart lies a profound philosophical question. What is the true nature of reality? The sacred texts known as the Vedas, followed by the Upanishads, explore themes that remain relevant today: consciousness, duty, morality, self-realization, and the relationship between humanity and the universe. Central to Hindu philosophy are several enduring concepts. Dharma refers to moral duty and righteous conduct. Karma expresses the principle that every action carries consequences. Samsara describes the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. And moksha represents liberation from that cycle through spiritual realization. These ideas have shaped Indian philosophy, ethics, literature, and social life for millennia. Hinduism also embraces extraordinary diversity. Some worship Vishnu as the preserver. Others devote themselves to Shiva, the transformer. Many honor the Divine Mother in her various forms, such as Durga, Lakshmi, or Sarasvati. Despite this diversity, Hindu thought often emphasizes that truth may be approached through many paths: a perspective that has contributed to the remarkable religious pluralism found throughout Indian history. The rise of Buddhism and Jainism. More than 25 centuries ago, northern India became the birthplace of two remarkable spiritual traditions that would influence millions across Asia. The first was Buddhism. Around the 6th century BCE, a prince named Siddhartha Gautama left behind a life of privilege in search of answers to one of humanity's oldest questions. Why do people suffer? After years of meditation and reflection, he attained enlightenment beneath a Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya and became known as the Buddha, the Enlightened One. His teachings were both simple and profound. Suffering exists. It has causes. It can end. And there is a path leading toward that freedom. Known as the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, these teachings emphasized ethical living, mental discipline, compassion, and wisdom rather than ritual or social status. Buddhism spread rapidly across India and later throughout Sri Lanka, Central Asia, China, Korea, Japan, Tibet, and Southeast Asia. Although Buddhism eventually declined as a major religion within India itself, its birthplace remains one of the world's most important pilgrimage destinations. Alongside Buddhism emerged another ancient tradition, Jainism. Founded upon the teachings of Mahavira, Jainism emphasizes nonviolence in its purest form. Its central principle, ahimsa, or non-harm toward all living beings, extends beyond human relationships to include animals and even the smallest forms of life. For Jain monks and many followers, compassion is not simply a virtue. It is a way of life. This philosophy has profoundly influenced Indian ethics, vegetarian traditions, environmental awareness, and even the political thought of figures such as Mahatma Gandhi, whose commitment to nonviolent resistance drew inspiration from long-standing Indian spiritual traditions. The Mughal Empire, an era of grandeur. In the early 16th century, a new empire emerged that would redefine the political and cultural landscape of the Indian subcontinent. In 1526, Babur, a descendant of both Timur and Genghis Khan, defeated the Sultan of Delhi at the First Battle of Panipat, establishing what became known as the Mughal Empire. Over the next 3 centuries, the Mughals transformed India into one of the wealthiest and most influential regions in the world. Their courts became centers of literature, science, miniature painting, architecture, and music. Persian traditions merged with Indian artistic heritage, creating a unique cultural synthesis that still defines much of South Asian identity today. Among all Mughal rulers, one emperor stands apart, Akbar the Great. Ascending the throne at just 13 years old, Akbar expanded the empire while promoting an unprecedented policy of religious tolerance. He invited scholars from different faiths, including Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Jains, and Zoroastrians, to debate philosophy and ethics in his royal court. His vision was simple but revolutionary. An empire could only flourish when its people respected one another. Perhaps no monument symbolizes Mughal achievement more than the Taj Mahal. Commissioned by Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his beloved wife Mumtaz Mahal, this white marble masterpiece took more than 20 years to complete. Its perfect symmetry, intricate calligraphy, and exquisite craftsmanship have earned it recognition as one of the new 7 wonders of the world and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. To millions, it is more than a monument. It is the world's greatest architectural expression of love, British rule, and the struggle for freedom. Beginning in the 17th century, European trading companies arrived on India's shores. Among them, the British East India Company gradually expanded its commercial influence into political control. Following the Battle of Plassey in 1757, British authority grew rapidly. After the Indian Rebellion of 1857, governance passed directly to the British Crown, initiating the period known as the British Raj. Railways stretched across the subcontinent. Universities and legal systems expanded. Yet these developments came alongside economic exploitation, political repression, and devastating famines that affected millions. The desire for independence steadily intensified. Then emerged a leader unlike any the modern world had seen. Mahatma Gandhi, the power of nonviolence. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi believed that true strength did not lie in weapons. It resided in moral courage. Drawing inspiration from the ancient Indian principle of ahimsa, or nonviolence, Gandhi developed a philosophy known as satyagraha, the force of truth. His campaigns encouraged ordinary people to resist injustice without hatred. One of his most iconic acts was the Salt March of 1930, a peaceful protest against Britain's monopoly on salt production. Thousands followed him. The world watched. History changed. Gandhi's message transcended India. His philosophy later inspired leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela, proving that peaceful resistance could transform nations. On August 15, 1947, after decades of struggle, India achieved independence. The birth of the new nation marked the end of colonial rule, but also the painful partition, which created India and Pakistan and displaced millions of people. Despite immense challenges, the Republic of India embraced democracy. Today, it stands as the world's largest democracy, with hundreds of millions participating in regular elections. Modern India, tradition meets innovation. Modern India is a nation of extraordinary contrasts. Ancient temples stand beside cutting-edge research laboratories. Traditional markets coexist with world-leading technology companies. With a population exceeding 1.4 billion, India is among the most populous nations on Earth and one of the fastest-growing major economies. Its achievements extend far beyond manufacturing and trade. India has become a global leader in information technology, pharmaceuticals, renewable energy, digital finance, and engineering. Cities such as Bengaluru, often called the Silicon Valley of India, have become international centers for software development and innovation. Indian engineers, scientists, entrepreneurs, and researchers contribute to some of the world's most influential technological advancements. Reaching for the stars. India's scientific ambitions are perhaps most visible in its space program. The Indian Space Research Organization, known as ISRO, has achieved remarkable success while operating with comparatively modest budgets. In 2014, India became the first Asian nation to successfully reach Mars on its first attempt through the Mars Orbiter mission. Nearly a decade later, Chandrayaan-3 successfully landed near the Moon's south polar region, making India the first country ever to achieve a soft landing in that challenging area. These accomplishments demonstrated not only technological excellence, but also India's growing role in global scientific exploration. For millions of young Indians, every rocket launch symbolizes something greater than engineering. It represents possibility. A mosaic of cultures. India is often described not as a single culture, but as a civilization of civilizations. The Constitution recognizes 22 scheduled languages, while hundreds of additional languages and dialects are spoken across the country. Every region possesses its own traditions, cuisine, architecture, music, dance, clothing, and festivals. From the colorful celebrations of Holi, where clouds of vibrant powder fill the air, to the radiant lights of Diwali, symbolizing the triumph of light over darkness. Every festival tells a story rooted in centuries of history. Indian cuisine reflects this remarkable diversity. Each state offers distinct flavors shaped by geography, climate, religion, and local agriculture. Spices such as turmeric, cardamom, cumin, coriander, and black pepper have influenced global culinary traditions for centuries. India's cultural influence extends beyond its borders. Its films, literature, yoga, classical music, dance traditions, and spiritual philosophies continue to inspire audiences around the world. Nature's masterpiece. Beyond its cities lies another India, a land of astonishing biodiversity. From the snow-covered Himalayas to the mangrove forests of the Sundarbans, from the deserts of Rajasthan to the tropical rainforests of the Western Ghats, India protects some of the planet's most extraordinary ecosystems. It is home to the majestic Bengal tiger, the Asiatic lion, the Asian elephant, the Indian rhinoceros, snow leopards, gharials, and thousands of unique plant species. More than 100 national parks and numerous wildlife sanctuaries preserve this natural heritage for future generations. Here, nature and civilization have evolved together for thousands of years. India cannot be understood through a single story. It is too ancient, too diverse, too vast. It is a civilization where mathematics reshaped science, where philosophy explored the meaning of existence, where religions transformed the spiritual history of humanity, where magnificent monuments continue to inspire wonder, and where innovation now reaches beyond the earth itself. Its past lives in every temple. Its future rises with every new generation. For thousands of years, India has reminded the world that civilizations are not measured only by their power, but by their ideas, their resilience, and their enduring ability to inspire humanity. This is India, a timeless civilization, a living legacy, a nation whose story is still being written. Thank you for watching.